Have you ever noticed how some older men seem to radiate calm and quiet strength, even while living alone? As we grow older, the thought of living by ourselves might bring up feelings of loneliness or boredom. However, for many older men, the experience is quite different. Living alone can actually be one of the most liberating, empowering, and even restorative phases of later life. This message is especially for men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, or beyond who have chosen to live alone or are thinking about it. We'll explore 8 clear advantages that show how living solo in later years can bring greater clarity, control, and happiness into your daily life. These benefits go beyond simple independence. They dive into deeper themes like inner peace, personal development, and a fresh confidence that comes from truly knowing yourself without relying on anyone else's approval. If you've ever felt it's too late to make lifestyle changes, or worried that living alone means sacrificing something important, you might be surprised to find the opposite is true. This perspective could help you see living alone not as a drawback, but as an exciting new chapter in your life. Make sure to watch until the end, because you'll learn how living alone during your later years can not only increase your self-assurance, but also transform your entire outlook on aging. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Now let's dive in. Advantage number 1, freedom to set your own routine. One of the clearest and most immediate advantages of living alone as an older man is the full control you gain over your daily schedule. When you don't have to share your living space, you no longer need to negotiate with anyone about meal times, sleep patterns, TV volume, or when to turn off the lights. You can wake up naturally when your body's ready and spend your day exactly how you want. While this kind of freedom might seem small at first, over time it builds into something deeply satisfying. Many older men have spent years, sometimes decades, living according to someone else's timetable, whether it was raising children, going to work, or accommodating a partner's preferences. But now, possibly for the first time in years, you can truly live in tune with your own internal rhythm. This freedom helps your mind and body settle into what feels most natural to you. Perhaps your most productive moments happen early in the morning before dawn, or maybe your energy peaks late at night when everything is calm. Living alone means you can follow your own internal clock without feeling guilty or interrupted. Take Tom, for example, a 74-year-old retired carpenter. For years, he woke up at 5:30 a.m. out of habit, even after retiring. But once he began living alone, he realized mornings weren't his favorite time of day. Now he sleeps until 8, savors his coffee slowly, and reads by the window until the sun is fully up. He's never felt more rested. This isn't about becoming lazy or undisciplined. In fact, many men discover that when they stop trying to keep pace with someone else, they become more consistent and focused. Living alone helps you rebuild a sense of internal balance that was hard to maintain in a shared life. It's not just the big routines, it's the small things too. You can listen to your favorite music without compromise, eat what you want when you want, and watch old westerns or baseball reruns without needing to explain yourself. There's a subtle but powerful feeling that everything in your home finally belongs to you. Even chores become more peaceful. Without pressure to meet someone else's standards, you decide how clean the kitchen should be, what the garden looks like, and how the house smells. It's no longer a negotiation, but a true reflection of you. Perhaps most importantly, living alone gives you the time and space to check in with yourself during the day. How are you feeling? What do you need? What would make today meaningful? You don't need permission to change plans or justify your choices. When a man can live by his own clock without apology or compromise, something deep inside strengthens. That quiet autonomy is more than just a convenience. It becomes a foundation of self-trust, which only grows more valuable with age. Advantage number 2, mental clarity and peace. Living alone as an older man can be one of the most effective ways to safeguard your mental well-being. When you're not constantly adapting to someone else's moods, noise, or expectations, your nervous system gets the chance to relax and settle. This quiet environment nurtures a deep sense of inner calm that's often hard to achieve in a shared home. It's not that being around others is always stressful, But for many men, especially those who spent years solving problems for their families or at work, the absence of continuous external input feels like a much-needed exhale. In your own home, silence is not emptiness, but a form of restoration. There's less small talk, fewer distractions, and none of the emotional strain that can come from living with someone whose habits or energy don't quite align with yours. You no longer have to read the room, walk on eggshells, or worry if something you said upsets someone. You simply get to be yourself. This stillness gives your mind the breathing room it needs without the constant hum of another person's television, voice, or feelings nearby. As a result, your thoughts may become clearer. Ideas you've been too busy to notice can begin to surface, and life patterns you've carried for years start to make more sense. Frank, a 69-year-old retired bus driver, shared that he didn't realize how much tension he was holding in his chest until he spent 3 weeks alone following his divorce. No arguments, no passive-aggressive silence, just quiet. For the first time in years, he felt like his thoughts truly belonged to him. This mental clarity also reflects in your emotional state. You begin to distinguish which feelings are genuinely yours and which are responses to others. Your emotional highs and lows start to balance out. You stop over-explaining or feeling the need to defend your decisions. The quiet becomes a teacher, and through that peace, a sense of control returns. You get to choose what you want to focus on, whether it's a personal project, reminiscing, going for a walk, or simply enjoying a cup of coffee while watching the sky. You find more time for reflection, gratitude, and mindful observation, things that often get lost in busy, emotionally charged environments. Your physical surroundings start to echo this mental clarity as well. A neat and quiet home creates ease in your mind. You might notice better sleep, steadier digestion, and more consistent energy throughout the day. This isn't magic, it's your nervous system finally functioning without constant interruptions. Some people worry that too much silence might lead to loneliness, but there's a key difference between being alone and feeling isolated. Living alone gives you the freedom to enjoy solitude without the pressure to entertain or accommodate others. And that freedom can transform your experience. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us keep creating meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Now let's continue. Advantage number 3, rediscovery of self. One of the most unexpected and fulfilling experiences that can come with living alone as an older man is the chance to rediscover who you truly are. After spending decades in roles like provider, partner, parent, or employee, it's easy to lose touch with the quieter, more authentic parts of yourself. The aspects that existed before all those titles and responsibilities took center stage. When your home grows quiet and your days become entirely your own, a unique kind of space opens up, not just in your surroundings, but deep within you. You begin to notice what naturally captures your attention. The books you reach for, the music you start playing again, the thoughts that arise when no one else is steering the conversation. Many men don't realize how much their identity has been shaped by those around them until those people aren't there daily. Though this realization can feel unsettling at first, it also serves as a gateway back to a deeper self, a part of you that's always existed, but was often put aside for the sake of family, career, or comfort. Take Charles, a 76-year-old widower, for example. Before moving into his own apartment, he couldn't remember the last time he'd painted. It wasn't that anyone had stopped him, he had simply forgotten how much he loved it. After living alone for a few months, Charles picked up a paintbrush again, and that quiet joy returned like an old friend. Living alone removes the constant social mirror that subtly shapes who you think you should be. Without needing to meet anyone else's expectations or adapt to their moods, you finally have the freedom to ask yourself, what do I really enjoy? What do I believe? What have I been missing? Maybe it's something small, like wearing slippers all day or rearranging your furniture without consulting anyone. Or maybe it's something more profound, picking up a hobby abandoned in your 30s or exploring a spiritual path you never had time for before. You might notice that the foods you cook the shows you watch, and even the way you talk to yourself begin to change. The absence of constant interaction creates a space where curiosity and that inner spark, once thought lost, can return. It was always there. It just needed room to breathe. There's a quiet pride in this rediscovery. It's not about trying to recapture youth or clinging to a past version of yourself. Instead, it's about honoring the man you have become and giving him permission to continue growing. At this stage of life, growth may be gentler and slower, but it's no less meaningful. Some men find themselves journaling again, others take solo trips for the first time, and some finally feel ready to confront old memories and release long-held regrets. The beauty of solitude is that it doesn't rush you. It simply invites you to come back to yourself. And when you spend enough time in that space, something remarkable happens. You grow comfortable in your own company. You no longer feel the need to prove anything. You speak to yourself with kindness, and you begin to feel at home, not just in your house, but within your own mind. In a world that often tells older men to stay strong, stay busy, and stay useful, choosing solitude is a quiet act of rebellion. It quietly declares, I matter, even when no one is watching. That belief changes the way you carry yourself in every part of life. Once you reconnect with who you are beneath the noise and expectations, you start living not out of habit, but from a place of genuine truth. And a life lived that way, even when alone, is never lonely. It is rich, rooted, and deeply alive. Advantage number 4, financial control. Living alone often gives older men a level of financial control they may not have experienced for years. When you're the sole person managing your money, every financial decision, big or small, is entirely yours. There's no longer a need to negotiate over purchases, worry about unexpected expenses caused by someone else, or stress over another person's spending habits. You get to decide how much to save, how much to spend, and what really matters to you. This isn't about being stingy or overly cautious. It's about gaining clarity and peace of mind. Living alone allows you to assess your budget honestly and say, this is enough. Many older men report that this kind of peace was something they didn't even realize they were missing. Without the responsibility of supporting another person's lifestyle or habits, your money often stretches further. This might mean a smaller grocery bill, downsizing to a cozier place with lower rent or utilities, or cutting back on entertainment expenses. Even small choices like canceling unused subscriptions or skipping social outings that once felt obligatory can add up significantly. James, an 81-year-old veteran, shared how moving into a one-bedroom apartment and living alone helped him identify where his money had been quietly slipping away. He realized he didn't need 3 streaming services, 2 cars, or weekly dinners out. By focusing only on what mattered to him, he was able to let go of unnecessary expenses. And the best part was, there was no guilt. He wasn't depriving anyone. He was simply aligning his spending with his own life. This financial independence also means that if you want to spend more on things you truly enjoy, whether it's quality food, a well-made jacket, or travel, you can do so confidently without second-guessing yourself. Every dollar spent is your choice, and that freedom often comes with emotional benefits as well. Knowing exactly where your money is going reduces stress, helps improve sleep, and eliminates worries about whether someone else is being responsible. You have the answer because it's you handling your finances. With this control, many men find themselves thinking more long-term again. You might start investing once more, finally draft a will, organize your savings, or create a budget that feels empowering rather than restrictive. It becomes an opportunity to manage your financial life intentionally rather than out of habit. For some, living alone even sparks generosity. Giving becomes a choice made from abundance rather than obligation. Whether it's contributing to a grandchild's education or helping a neighbor in need, you define what luxury means for you. For one man, it might be fresh flowers on the table. For another, a quiet monthly fishing trip. The key is that you're no longer fitting your life into someone else's budget. You're shaping your finances around your own values. When this happens, money stops feeling like something to constantly chase and becomes a tool that serves you. It transforms from a source of anxiety into a source of freedom. If you're still watching and finding these ideas helpful, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Now let's keep going. Advantage number 5, privacy and health management. One of the most overlooked advantages of living alone as an older man is the privacy it grants when it comes to managing your health. As we grow older, medical appointments, medications, physical changes, and even bathroom routines can become more frequent and sometimes sensitive topics. Having your own space means you can handle all these matters without feeling watched, judged, or rushed. When you live with others, even those who care deeply about you, there's often an unspoken pressure to minimize your struggles. You might feel compelled to downplay your discomfort, hide your fatigue, or put on a brave face just to avoid worrying anyone. Living alone removes that need to perform. You can be completely honest with yourself about how you're feeling and adjust your care accordingly. Take James, a 77-year-old man living alone in Michigan, for example. After being diagnosed with a chronic digestive condition, he found that living with his daughter's family made it hard for him to prioritize his health. He would skip meals or push through symptoms to avoid disrupting their routines. Once he moved into his own place, he was able to manage his condition more effectively, eating when his body needed it, adapting his schedule, and even fitting in gentle stretching after meals, all without feeling self-conscious. Living alone also allows you to keep health matters private until you're ready to share them. Whether you're processing a new diagnosis, recovering from surgery, or adjusting to medication, having a quiet space to handle these changes on your own terms can be incredibly valuable. You don't have to explain every appointment, side effect, or pill. You simply focus on healing. For many older men, this privacy also helps maintain dignity. Some health-related tasks, like taking insulin, using assistive devices, or managing incontinence, can feel embarrassing even in front of loved ones. In your own home, you can manage these without fear of interruption or exposure. This privacy restores a sense of control over your body and health routines. You get to create habits that genuinely improve your well-being. Maybe that means taking a midday nap, using a heating pad while watching TV, or soaking your feet in the kitchen sink, all without needing to answer questions or justify your choices. You're not adjusting to someone else's ideas of what a healthy person should do. You're listening to your body and responding with compassion. Living alone also makes it easier to organize your medications, supplements, and medical records. You're free to set up reminders, keep items where they make sense to you, and track your progress without anyone else rearranging your system. This autonomy can make managing health feel much more achievable and less stressful. And importantly, when you do need help, you get to decide when and how to ask for it. You aren't obligated to involve someone in every small detail, but you can create a support network that fits your preferences. A trusted friend, a neighbor nearby, or a visiting nurse. It's your choice. Living alone doesn't mean neglecting your health. It means managing it on your own terms. For many men, this shift transforms what was once a source of frustration into a daily act of self-respect. You stop waiting for someone else to care for you and recognize that you're already doing a commendable job on your own. Advantage number 6, freedom from emotional burdens of others' moods. One of the most underrated benefits of living alone is the ability to safeguard your emotional energy. When you share a home, whether with a spouse, family members, or even a roommate, you're constantly tuning into other people's moods, frustrations, and emotional ups and downs. Over time, this silent emotional weight can build up and wear you down. Living alone transforms your home into a peaceful emotional refuge. You no longer wake up to someone else's bad mood or feel the need to tread carefully to avoid conflict. There's no pressure to manage or fix someone else's feelings before you've even had your morning coffee. This daily emotional labor, something many men have carried without question for years, simply disappears. It's only once it's gone that you fully grasp how much energy it was costing you. Mike, a 73-year-old retired mechanic, shared that after his wife passed away, what he missed wasn't just her presence, but also what he didn't miss anymore. He no longer had to mediate arguments, smooth over misunderstandings, or cheer others up just to keep peace at home. What replaced that burden was a deep sense of quiet relief, something he hadn't realized he needed. This isn't to suggest relationships are bad, but constant emotional entanglement can be exhausting, especially in later years when your energy reserves aren't what they used to be. Living alone offers you the chance to protect your emotional reserves and spend them thoughtfully rather than reactively. You get to control what enters your emotional space. If the news feels overwhelming, you can turn it off. If a text message feels demanding, you don't have to reply immediately. When a difficult memory surfaces, you have the freedom to process it privately without pressure to move on or explain your feelings. This solitude also makes it easier to manage your inner emotional world. Without external emotional noise, your own feelings become clearer and easier to understand. You begin to recognize what calms you, what stresses you, and what unexpectedly brings joy. This growing self-awareness is a precious gift and fosters greater self-compassion. You stop comparing your reactions to others or being told to lighten up or get over it. Instead, you treat your emotions with the respect and care they deserve. Moreover, when you choose to connect with others, you bring a steadier, more grounded version of yourself. You aren't arriving already emotionally drained or overcompensating for someone else's volatility. You simply show up as your authentic self, calm, clear, and ready to engage on your own terms. For men who have spent decades navigating the emotional demands of family life, this kind of autonomy may feel unfamiliar or even cause guilt at first. But that guilt fades once you realize you're not shutting people out. You're reclaiming your right to emotional rest, and that makes a real difference. Living without carrying the invisible burden of someone else's stress leads to better sleep, lower blood pressure, fewer emotional outbursts, and less resentment. In solitude, your nervous system can reset. You laugh more freely, cry more honestly, grieve and celebrate without fear of judgment. Perhaps for the first time in years, you feel emotionally safe in your own home. This peace of mind can't be bought but can be nurtured, one quiet, intentional day at a time. If you're still watching and find these ideas helpful, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Now let's keep moving forward. Advantage number 7, more time for purposeful solitude. Living alone opens the door to something quietly powerful. Your time becomes fully your own again. And with that freedom comes a deeper experience that many men don't realize they've been missing. Purposeful solitude. This isn't just about being alone, but about being alone with intention. Without the regular presence or expectations of others, you're gifted with long, uninterrupted stretches of time. In these quiet hours, you reconnect with the value of simply existing, not working, not fixing, not performing, just being. This kind of solitude creates space for reflection and presence. You might finally read the book you've picked up and set aside countless times, or sit in a chair with a hot cup of coffee, not chasing a goal, just soaking in the moment. You can take a slow walk through your neighborhood, moving at your own pace without the need to keep up conversation or follow anyone else's path. There's a special richness in these moments, not driven by activity, but by awareness. Solitude doesn't mean you stop being productive. In fact, many men find they accomplish more, not because they're rushing, but because they're uninterrupted. You can fix that leaky faucet, write a thoughtful letter, organize your garage, or tend a small garden entirely on your schedule. But more important than productivity is the sense of peace and meaning that grows from within. You start to notice the little things again, the way the sunlight moves through your home, how your shoulders drop when music plays, or the satisfaction of completing a task simply for your own joy. And from this stillness, creativity often stirs. You might find yourself journaling, picking up an old guitar, or baking bread out of sheer curiosity. You may even feel called to write down your memories, not to share them, but to honor them. Ben, a 68-year-old retired police officer, discovered a surprising love for watercolor painting. After years of avoiding quiet pastimes, he told me he hadn't felt so peaceful since he was a child. That's the quiet gift of solitude. It returns to you parts of yourself you forgot were still there. Solitude also gives you space to feel more deeply. You're free to sit with past regrets, grieve what's been lost, or celebrate the good that remains, all without interruption. No one is there to hurry your emotions along, correct your tears, or rush your joy. You experience your inner world more fully, and in doing so, begin to heal parts of yourself that were long ignored. Many men don't realize this until they've lived alone. Solitude doesn't make your life smaller. It makes it deeper. You begin to understand your natural rhythms and what truly brings you joy. You no longer need to fill every moment with noise or distraction, and in that quiet, you often discover a hidden strength. The world outside may move faster every year, but in your space, time slows down just enough to matter. You stop living for the next deadline or obligation and start truly living in each moment. And when you do reconnect with others, whether it's a grandchild, an old friend, or a friendly face at the store, you do it from a place of fullness, not emotional exhaustion. Your solitude becomes a wellspring of renewal, not a sign of withdrawal. You're not hiding from life. You're preparing to meet it with more presence, clarity, and intention. This kind of life might look simple from the outside, but from within, it feels quietly powerful and deeply whole. Advantage number 8, the freedom to form selective, meaningful relationships. One of the most valuable and often surprising benefits of living alone as an older man is the ability to form relationships on your own terms. Without the constant presence of others dictated by obligation, you begin to recognize how many of your past social interactions were based more on routine than on true connection. Living alone gives you full control over your social life. You get to decide who you spend time with, how often, and in what way. There's no pressure to socialize daily, no unspoken expectations to chat when you'd rather enjoy quiet. You become the gatekeeper of your own time and energy, and that kind of control is deeply empowering. As this clarity grows, you naturally become more selective. You start to recognize who uplifts you, who respects your space, and who truly listens when you speak. Just as important, you become aware of the opposite. Those who drain you, dominate conversations, or consistently overlook your needs. This realization often prompts older men to simplify their social circles. The phone calls that leave you feeling exhausted, the drop-ins that feel more like obligations than enjoyment, the acquaintances who never really check in. These interactions begin to fall away. In their place, more meaningful connections can form. You might find yourself reconnecting with an old friend who suddenly feels like a kindred spirit. A neighbor who shares your love for gardening might become a welcome part of your weekly routine. A thoughtful exchange at church or the local cafe may linger in your mind in a way that surface-level conversations never did. These relationships feel deeper because you're engaging by choice, not duty. This kind of social life isn't about being busy or surrounded by people. It's about being intentional. You might choose to meet a friend for breakfast once a week or invite someone over for a peaceful afternoon of coffee and music. And when the visit ends, you return to the sanctuary of your home without tension or obligation. Larry, an 80-year-old man who lives alone, shared that he once felt lonelier in a crowded household than he does now in solitude. Now, he said, "When I talk to someone, it's because I want to, not because I have to." That shift from expectation to intention transforms how relationships feel and function. For those open to it, living alone can even be a gateway to new kinds of connections. Volunteering, attending support groups, joining online forums, or walking clubs are all ways to meet people who share your current mindset, interests, and pace of life. These aren't just distractions. They're opportunities to form bonds that align with who you are now, not who you used to be. Importantly, choosing selective relationships doesn't mean shutting people out. It means protecting the space you've built and honoring your emotional well-being. It's about saying yes only when it feels right, and that includes family. Many men find their family ties actually strengthen when they live apart. Visits become more intentional, boundaries are clearer, and conversations feel more sincere. Some men even discover that the most important relationship they've developed is with themselves. From that self-understanding, everything else begins to shift. Friendships, dating, even small talk with strangers. You show up more fully, not to impress or fix others, but because you're secure in who you are. Living alone doesn't mean a life without love or connection. On the contrary, it often leads you straight to the most honest, peaceful relationships of your life. Ones you choose. Ones that bring joy, not pressure. And at this stage of life, isn't that exactly what real connection should be? Respectful, fulfilling, and entirely up to you? Final thoughts. Living alone as an older man is often misunderstood. Many people assume it must be isolating or a sign of decline, or that it involves giving up something meaningful. But as we've explored, the reality is frequently the opposite. For many men, this phase of life becomes one of the most empowering, peaceful, and insightful periods they've ever experienced. Throughout this journey, we've seen how living alone can bring a newfound sense of freedom. Freedom to create your own routine, listen to your body's natural rhythm, and spend your time the way you choose. It can offer a calm, quiet environment that supports mental clarity and emotional stability. For many, it also becomes a time of self-discovery, helping to reconnect with passions, interests, and parts of themselves that were buried under years of responsibility. We've also seen the practical advantages: more control over your finances, better management of your health in private, and less emotional strain from managing the moods of others. This kind of living gives space for reflection, the freedom to process emotions, and the opportunity to form deeper, more intentional relationships with others and with yourself. So now take a moment to reflect. Which of these benefits resonated most with you? Which ones have you already seen in your own life or hope to experience in the years ahead? Maybe you've been living alone for some time without realizing just how much it's been helping you grow. Or maybe you're only just considering this path and wondering what it might offer. Either way, remember this: living alone does not mean being less connected, less valued, or incomplete. In fact, it often provides a space to truly reconnect with who you are, what you need, and what brings you peace. Those quiet, steady parts of yourself, the ones that were always there, can finally rise to the surface. And that quiet strength, built through solitude, often becomes your most faithful companion in the years to come. Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below sharing one insight you gained and how you plan to apply it. Your input matters and truly encourages us. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep producing meaningful content to inform and inspire others. We appreciate you watching and look forward to having you with us again in the next video.